Hello fellow dragons, it's Spooktober time! Yeah, I thought I'd put together a list of 10 games that I thought were kind of creepy and, well worth the play, or at least horror-themed idealisms, There's not going to be everything that everyone sort of follows on this, but, some games that you may have not played, so hey, let's get into it. This list of games is not definitive, best or worst, nor is it a reflection of anything other than my personal opinions and feelings about these games. Not everyone will agree, but that's fine. The point is to show people some great games, so let's begin. That's my disclaimer, suck it, that's what it's going to be. Number 1, Hellblade, Sense's Sacrifice. Many indie games make their mark, but few have done such a spectacular job as Hellblade. You play as a Viking princess, Senua, and on the path of revenge, but that is only part of the game. Much of it is all about the journey and Senua's sort of struggle with her mental health as she is attacked by Draugr, Norse zombies, and a growing curse that will consume her. The visuals are amazing, with you being given the view of a narrator and being a voice in Senua's head, who will often creep you out with just the way that she stares right through you. The game is about immersing the player into the mind of someone suffering schizophrenia, and with the visuals and the sounds and the unnervingness of it all, and just it's best being played in a dark room with headphones. Once you've played this game, you will know what it is to lose your mind.
Words you cannot break. They can break you, but not your promise. Even death won't keep you apart. Through his darkness you will find.
Number 2, Graveyard Keeper. Pixel games have made a real resurgence in recent years, as well as a lot of farm sim sort of games as well. So someone thought to mash the two together to get a weird game where you are a graveyard keeper and you are tasked with burying the dead. There is a lot more of it since the game has clear influences from Stardew Valley. So instead of just processing dead, putting them into the graves or sort of cremating them and whatnot, you hold sermons, you have to trade goods, both normal and not so normal, as well as help other people in the town. It's a great game with lots of crafting, farming and other mechanics that are just in with the theme of what this game's all about. It's very interesting and I love it so much. Number 3, Vampyr. So, there are plenty of games where you become a vampire. Vampyr. And it's been done and dusted many times over, pun intended. But here it's a bit different, because mainly as a vampire you are now thirsty for blood, but your actions affect the different parts of the game. So you can try and keep everyone alive, or you can just watch the city burn. And as the permanent doctor, John Reed, your entire idea is to try and keep everything sort of good. But it's really interesting how it's done in general, so it gives you this capability of making correct and wrong choices, and yeah, it's very enjoyable. It is a bit weighty on the sort of dialogue system, but at the same time the action makes up for it. It's not a bad sort of action adventure game, and it's interesting enough to go through a few times to replay the story, even if it's just to go and right the wrongs that you have done, or just watch 19th century London burn. Number 4, Murder Soul Suspect. This game, you are shot in the first few minutes of the game and you get up from a nasty fall through a window out of... only to discover that you are now tasked with the greatest criminal case ever, that of who killed you. That's right, you play as the ghost as a ghost for the whole game, possessing people, talking to others, ghosts, and walking through so many walls, you'll wonder why you ever used doors in the first place. It is a great game. It has a fabulous setting in Salem, yes, that's Salem, and your death is mixed up with the old witch trials. Saying more would spoil the game, so make sure you have a play of it. It's a really enjoyable game, with lots of twists and turns in it.
Drawing of a bell has been left at the scene of several murders,
leading police to refer to the murderer as the Bell Killer.
I need to figure out who killed me.
Number 5, Resident Evil 2, 2019 remake. No horror list would be complete without a Resident Evil game. Time and time again, over the years, Capcom have always managed to keep making Resident Evil games that are horror and survival that many have copied, but few have succeeded to match up to or surpass. With the remake of Resident Evil 2, Capcom blew everyone away with not only the scale, but just the sheer suspense and horror of the zombies. Low ammos, lickers right in your face, and the ominous Mr. X stomping after you. If you haven't played it, then you need to find a copy and get ready for your own personal struggle.
You don't understand.
Number 6, Visage. Many people have played PT, or at least watched people play it, can agree that it is a work of art, and sad that many have missed the opportunity to see the full game out of it. But in the last year, Visage has gained traction in the horror community and shown itself to be an equally scary and disturbing horror game that's still being added to. The game is still in early access, so the controls and inventory management systems are kind of broken at times, but it still can't hide the gem of a game that the developers are making. With a dark, creepy house, rooms that are linked via mirrors, and jump scares, as well as a slow creepiness, one of the most fantastic games that might cure that itch PT began. Number 7, Inside. Inside, though not a long game, is also a very brilliant game that is great and has an ending that leaves you questioning the meaning of it. Although the game is you playing as the silent protagonist trying to escape men with flashlights and dogs, as well as creepy floating children with hair that is just too damn long. It is a horror game that is of its own right and is part of a genre that is growing in recent years. It covers some of the Big Brother things, experimentation, and just plain creepiness, and also that tense feeling when you're not sure you're not sure if you're being seen by the enemy or not, or whether you're safe, or it has a great time where it will just not give you that space and it just keeps pushing you forward through the game. A really enjoyable game that I love immensely. Number 8, Grim Dawn. Diablo really is a great game that gave rise to the action RPG genre in general, and Grim Dawn is the perfect example of the clone of this game, but with something different. As you begin the game, you are possessed by a demon, you're being hanged, of course. And as you're dying, the demon says, you know, I don't need this body anyway, and books it. But you were luckily cut down and you survived. And you are now thrust into this demon-ravaged world where you must quest out to solve the problem. The game has a very sort of Wild West Fallout kind of feel to it, where a lot of it is very gritty and you're sort of just building weapons on the fly and whatnot. And it's a really interesting action RPG game where you're sort of put into this sort of isometric world, but it's really enjoyable, and there's a lot of good sort of voice acting here and there, and just the storyline in general. It is a fantastic game. If you have not played Grim Dawn, I would suggest having a play of it, because like Diablo, it's just a very big click fest, but at the same time it's an enjoyable game that has a lot more different with it to make it its own kind of game at the same time. Number 9, DokiDoki Literature Club. Hey, this game. It's a mind twist. That's the best way you can describe this game. If you've never played a visual novel, or you have no desire of playing one, then this is the one that you should play. It begins as a very cutesy sort of anime school sort of game, and then quite literally it does a 360 and walks all the way straight into Creeptown. There's not much I can say more about this game other than those sort of two factors, where you have the normal mundane world and then just the full-on, wow, I'm not enjoying this and I'm feeling very creeped out sort of point. These two sort of points are the hallmark of this entire game, and I think that's what makes this game so much more enjoyable, is the suddenness of the change in just how it is. Like, at one point it's just a normal sort of visual novel, and then it just becomes this entirely different thing that you're scared of seeing each of the next progressions within the game. And for a free game, hell, if you're not playing it, then what else are you doing? It's good for a little bit of a horror, and it's good for just experiencing a very different game for free. Number 10, The Moons of Madness. This is a very recent game, and I've finished playing it, and my god, it's creepy. The Moons of Madness are basically a play on H.P. Lovecraft's work, The Mountains of Madness, where in The Mountains of Madness, a whole lot of scientists go to Antarctica and they discovered a lost civilization of the old ones, but it all goes wrong and a great evil is awoken. In the game, you're playing in a similar role. You wake up and you're immersed immediately in this kind of darkened horror sort of space where it's just tentacles crawling out of the walls, and it's just straight up creepy. And then you see this very strange woman and she kills you, and bang, you're awake, and it's a normal everyday on Mars. The first hour or so of this game is very mundane, but at the edges you can see these kind of strange things that don't 100% mash up with it, and it just gets more creepy and more disturbing as you go through the game. And I think it's a really great game for that. It has that nice jump scare thing, but it has that real dread feature at the same time, where as you're going through it, you get the sort of spooky thing inside you, and it's just this anxiety that is building, which really is hallmark to a good sort of creepy game. And also the tentacles in this, it is so creepy, and just some of the realities. But it's also good that it covers a lot of the Lovecraftian sort of work, where it talks about the different sort of Elder God sort of interactions with different things, and also just the overall arching design of it all. So, that has been some games I thought deserved a bit of a look in during the spooky part of this year. If you played any of these games, I am dying to hear if you've enjoyed them, and at what point the horror game really got you. Now, if you have any other ones that you think I should have a look at, or other people should have a look at, please put it down in the comments below. Also down there is the subscribe button and the like button. Smash them both, and I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
Orson? What the fuck? What? Ma?